Well, welcome back to irishracing.com and our exclusive insight from Robbie Power, courtesy of Boyelsports. At the end of the show, we'll also have a tip from Vincent Finegan. Now we're looking at day 4, so obviously the Gold Cup day. Robbie, I just wanted to get you to cast your mind back a little bit to 2017, winning the Gold Cup again. Magical memories for you, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think this day in 2017, it was Paddy's Day as well, and Size and John winning the Gold Cup, probably the greatest day of my racing career. I was lucky enough to win a Grand National as well, but I think the Gold Cup just marginally it was the better day, and rounding it off in the Grand Annual with Rock the World, it was just one of those festivals where everything you did went right, and I was lucky to be on some very, very good horses that year.
Perfect. Well, let's move on then to the first Grade 1 of the day, the Triumph Hurdle. Now, this one looks like it's going to be Willie Mullins dominated. Could be a 1, 2, 3 looking at the betting. But which do you fancy at the top of the market?
Yeah, I don't really have a strong view on the stayers, on the Triumph Hurdle, should I say. I was very impressed with Lossie Mouth on her first 2 starts. She did meet trouble in running on her last start at the Dublin Racing Festival, and Gala Marceau took benefit of that. She's a good mare in her own right. But just chatting to Paul Townend in Naas the other day, and I was asking, was he having trouble making his decisions up? And he said no, he'd basically made all his decisions, but the one race he was struggling with was the Triumph Hurdle between Blood Destiny and Lossie Mouth. The talk coming from Close Sutton is that Blood Destiny is very, very good, and his homework is extremely good. But can Paul Townend get off Lossie Mouth, who's a Grade 1 winner, to ride Blood Destiny? That's the big decision he has to make, and he's going to have to go with his gut feeling. But from what I'm hearing about the work that Blood Destiny is doing in Close Sutton, I think he's the one they all have to beat.
Yeah, I mean, looking at as well the form book or the previous years running of the Triumph, I mean, it's very much Irish dominated. So just in maybe general terms, what do you think stopping the British trainers kind of challenging for this kind of race?
Because they have another option in the 4-year-old handicap, the Fred Winter, and that shouldn't be there. If an owner goes out to buy a 4-year-old or a 3-year-old to go hurdling with, he's always thinking of the Triumph Hurdle. Couple of runs and they win 1 or 2, they get well treated over in England, and the option is there for them to run the Fred Winter and not take on Willie. The Triumph Hurdle, when I always started riding, was 25 runners and helter skelter, and you needed a lot of luck in running. It's a totally different race now. You're probably going to have 10 or 12 runners. Willie'd have 4 or 5 in it, and there'll be very few English challengers in the race.
And that, I guess, kind of dilutes things from a spectator's point of view. Is obviously if you like the interest of the English runners, it's kind of been put off there. But looking at this year's renewal, sorry, just any outside fancies for the race?
No, I think it will be a race dominated by Willie. He seems to have got his hands on the best juveniles, and Blood Destiny, I imagine, will overturn Lossie Mouth. If, from what I'm hearing, all this work that he's doing is supposed to be very, very good. So I think Blood Destiny could be the one.
All right, fair enough. Good shout there for Blood Destiny. Well, let's move on to the Albert Bartlett. And how taken have you been by Corbett's Cross? I think JP McManus has been pretty taken by him.
He has, yeah, because he's purchased them. He really surprised me the last day in Naas. I don't know how strong a race that was, but for a horse that had won over 3 miles in handicap company to drop back into a Grade 2 in Naas over 2 miles, it's something only Emmett Mullins would decide to do. It was a brave call to drop back in trip. He probably didn't want to give the horse a hard race over a longer distance that close to the festival. So it was a good performance. We know he has stamina as well, and he probably is the one they all have to beat. But there's 2 horses in this I really like. Henry de Bromhead's Hidden Valley Lake. I think he's a real galloper. This race is really going to suit him because it's all about stamina. He just jumps and gallops, and I think Hidden Valley Lake is a big chance. And the other horse in the race is Gordon Elliott's 3-Card Bragg, who was second, just beaten by In the Pocket in a Grade 2 in Naas over 2.5. This horse, for all the world, is crying out for 3 miles and is really going to improve when he steps up to 3 miles. Up that hill in Cheltenham, I can see 3-Card Bragg flying home, and I think he's the one they all have to beat. 3-Card Bragg, I think he's a horse on the improve, and stepping up to 3 mile is going to bring around a huge amount of improvement.
I think that, yeah, there's a strong fancy there for you. So that's an interesting one for the Albert Bartlett. All right, let's move on to the Gold Cup, but just get your thoughts on this year's renewal. It looks like a really interesting, really interesting race. And kind of how are you looking at things and how are you expecting the race to be run?
Yeah, no, it's going to be it is a fantastic renewal of the Gold Cup. I mean, Galopin Des Champs has been unbeatable, really. He fell at the last in Cheltenham last year. That was just a minor mishap. Apart from that, he's been flawless over fences. And so interesting to watch him this season compared to last season, where he was front running, flamboyant, exuberant, all those things that you don't want in a Gold Cup horse. But now this season, he's behind the bridle in the Irish Gold Cup in Leopardstown, heading to 2 out. I was wondering how well is Paul going, as he didn't look to be going that well. In the end, he ended up winning very, very impressively. He did no more in Leopardstown than I would have expected him to do, given the opposition. This is tougher. 3.25 miles. I do think he'll stay. I do think he will stay, but he's going to have to stay because there's plenty of pace on in here with the likes of a high senior. Statler's going to go forward. Manila Indo, Hewick. There's plenty of to force a strong pace in this race, and stamina. He's going to need every bit of it. A Plutard, obviously, a very disappointing start to this season in Haydock, but that was just so bad to be true. Since Christmas, he's had everything has gone hunky dory. You know, he hasn't missed a beat. Everyone's been really happy with him, and if he comes back to a level of form that he showed last year in the Gold Cup, he's going to be very, very hard to beat. But I know Henry's very happy with A Plutard and has him where he wants to be. So it's going to be a fascinating race. Don't rule out Braveman's Game. And how Manila Indo is the price he is, I don't know, because he's first and second in the last 2 runnings of the Gold Cup. And I think each way he's got a very, very good chance in the race. He's had a better preparation this year than he's had for the last 2 Gold Cups. His plan changed slightly at the start of the season. We decided not to run him in the autumn, where he's never that good. He was very good in Tremor on New Year's Day, and he hasn't missed a beat since. We know he improves every time he goes to Cheltenham. He improves 2 stone for some reason, I don't know. He loves the place, so I wouldn't rule him out each way in the Gold Cup.
Well, that's what I wanted to touch on as well, because obviously you rode him last time we spoke as well. So, yeah, you've been impressed with his progress as well this season, and is a big outside fancy for you.
Yeah, I do. He's never been out of the first 2 in Cheltenham. I'm not putting my hand. I'd love to see him win the Gold Cup, but I'm not going to say he definitely will. He's a year older, but he loves Cheltenham, and that brings out the best in him. And this season, he had a quiet start to the year. He was left off until New Year's Day, and as I say, he hasn't missed a beat. Everything has gone 100% touch wood since New Year's Day to Cheltenham.
And I mean, now you are retired. Can you look at the kind of the romantic story that Hewick would be, perhaps if he actually ran a big race at the Gold Cup?
If Hewick wins the Gold Cup, I'll eat this. I lap. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Shark Hannon has done an unbelievable job with him. He's a Galway Plate winner, American Grand National winner. Very unlucky not to win a Kerry National. He's a hell of a good horse. Will have a good chance in the English Grand National, but if the ground is on the slow side, that even weakens his chance in a Gold Cup. And there's a huge difference in class from an American Grand National to a Gold Cup.
And I think one more last mention as well, just for A Plutard, obviously last year's winner. Can you just tell us a little bit more what you've seen, maybe a bit more behind the scenes as well?
Yeah, look, as I say, it's been normal preparation, and sort of this time of year, always on the build up to Cheltenham, you're just hoping that nothing goes wrong, that a horse doesn't miss any scheduled bits of work and all these sort of things. But all his schooling sessions, all his work, nothing has been missed. So he goes there in really good form, and all Henry's horses heading over to Cheltenham, they all look $1 million. Now every horse looks healthy and well, and we had a great weekend just before Cheltenham to have 3 winners. So the horses are in mighty form and coming into form just the right time of year, hopefully.
Lovely stuff. All right, well, that covers the Gold Cup. So for you as well, looking at the handicaps, any outside fancies on Friday?
The handicaps, I like Ballyadam in the county hurdle. He was 5th in the race last year. Had a nice prep run at the Dublin Racing Festival when he wasn't beaten that far. I think he'd improve a lot for that. And I think Ballyadam could run well in the county. In the Fox Hunters, Chris's dream will run in this. He's a Grade 2 winner, unlucky not to win a Grade 1 in Down Royal. He's had a great season this season, 2 very easy point-to-point wins. This will be his first time in a racecourse from almost a year, and he always goes well, very, very fresh. So he's coming into this race fresh and well. And he is a class horse in the Fox. I think he goes well. The mare's Chase, I love Allegor de Vassi. The way she jumps and travels, I think she's going to be very, very exciting. Colin Murphy's Impervious is a big, big danger to her, but I just think Allegor de Vassi is a very, very good mare, and on soft ground she'd be very hard to beat. And in the Martin Pipe, strong word coming from the Gordon Elliott camp about, I just have to find them now. Staffrour, I think that's the right pronunciation. He's won his last 3, gets in here off 11 stone 4. And I think he could be hard to beat in this. Gordon has a great record in this race. And this horse fits that bill.
Oh, perfect. Well, Robbie, thanks a lot for all your tips. I hope for your digestion that Hewitt doesn't win the Gold Cup, but we'll see how that goes. Thanks a lot for your insight, and a pleasure to speak to you. Thanks a lot, Robbie.
Cheers, Joe. Thanks, mate.
And now we're going to throw it over to Vincent Finnegan for his exclusive tip of day 4.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. We're over to Friday now, the big day, Gold Cup day. So I'm going to try and find a winner for Friday, my nap of the day. So to say again here, this is a cracking card. We've got the Triumph Hurdle, Lossy Mouth, Gala Marceau, Blood Destiny. Really good race. Really looking forward to it, but I can't split them. I think it's too difficult. Even Willie Mullins' camp aren't sure. A lot of them seem to think Blood Destiny rather than Lossy Mouth. Then we've got the Albert Bartlett, which is wide open this year. That's a no for me. The Gold Cup itself, you've got Galopin Des Champs. Worthy favourite, no doubt about it. Probably the best horse in the race, but there's still a question mark over the trip. And there's some very good horses in here. Noble Yates, A Plutard, which hacked up on the race last year. Brave Man's Game, Conflated. They all think they've chances, so I'm going to avoid that one too. We've also got the Mare's Chase, another race that probably worth a betting, but at the same time, Allegor de Vassi, Impervious. Not quite sure how you split the two of them. And then there's Jeremy's Flame comes into it. By Jeremy, they love soft ground, so the more rain, the better for that. But the one I'm going to stick with is in the Hunter Chase, the St. James's Place Hunter's Chase, a horse called Vaucelet. It is favourite, and it deserves to be favourite, to be honest with you. Really like this. Trained by David Christie. The one question mark here is the ground. The horse would prefer better ground, but having said that, it's been trained to the minute for this race, and I think it's the best horse in the race. Last year in this race, Winged Leader was all over the winner, trained by David Christie, gone clear and got caught in the shadows of the post by Billaway. Then a couple of weeks later, Billaway went to Punchestown for the Champion Hunter Chase there and should have been beaten that day by Vaucelet. Vaucelet was all over the winner and made a terrible mistake at the last. It was only a young horse at the time, 7 years of age, inexperienced against the battle-hardened Billaway and got beaten. But I think we'll see a different horse this time. Billaway is in the race again, of course, back for another go at this. He's running this several times, including winning it last year. But I think Vaucelet is on the upgrade. Very good horse. It won the Champion Hunter Chase in Stratford last season as well. It's been trained to the minute for this. The ground is the only issue. It will love Cheltenham. It will love the hill. And I think it'll win. I think this could go on to win this race for several years to come, all things being equal. So that's it. That's my bet of the day. And the best of luck, whatever you're going to back. Bye for now.